Hello and welcome to Conversations with Lady Pruitte. Today I am so happy to have with me Missionary April Dawn Agnew, who's going to be joining us for a conversation. Hello, April.
Hello, so glad to be here.
Thank you. So April, I want you to introduce yourself and please let us know, if you're married, have children, and then also what is your profession?
Okay, so I'm April Dawn Agnew from Arkansas. I am single with no children. I am an elementary school teacher. I have been in the field for about 16 years, and I've been living for Jesus since I was about 16 years old. So I'm a Jesus fanatic, and I am living my destiny.
Yes, she's definitely a Jesus fanatic. I have spent time with her. She is definitely. So what grade do you teach, April?
Well, currently I'm teaching third grade, but I have also taught kindergarten, fifth grade, and second grade.
Oh, wonderful. I thought of once being a teacher, and yes, I actually was getting ready to go to finish my degree in teaching. And then, so I asked them, then they said, oh, you'll need to take math. And I said, make me an English major. So I became an English major instead. But the grade, I did work in an elementary school for many years and in administration. But the grade that I always wanted to teach was third grade. And the reason why is because they can tie their own shoes and blow their own noses.
It's true. It's very true.
But it is, teaching is definitely a very noble profession. So thank you, teachers. You are heroes, and especially during COVID, we really found out the kind of heroes that you guys are and how important and essential you guys are to us. We didn't realize you guys, you're our biggest babysitter. But more than that, you're training our children and building up their little lives, and it's such a wonderful thing. And I do thank you for your service in that, April.
Thank you so much.
April, we are going to talk about mission trips. So you've been on the mission field for a long time. So I want you to tell us, how long you've been on the mission field, and also give us like a little tidbit about your favorite trip.
All right. So I've been on the field for about 7 years. This is my 7th year anniversary to be exact. And I have always wanted to travel around the world. And one day when I was about 25 years old, I stood up in church. It was at a singles conference. And I said, I'm going to travel the world for Jesus. And I thought I was just saying something, but I was actually speaking my destiny. And at 34 years old, at the International Leadership Conference of the Church of God in Christ, I sat next to Mother Mary Kay Sims and Bishop Irvin Sims. And Mother Sims looked at me and she said, what do you do, woman of God? I said, well, I teach Sunday school. And she said, I can tell that's your passion. She said, well, what else do you do? And I said, well, I'm going to travel the world for Jesus. And I don't know why I said that, but she was like, really? And she said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Africa this year. Now, I hadn't planned a trip to Africa. I just said it. And that August, that was in January of 2014. And in August of 2014, I was in Ghana, West Africa with Bishop Irvin and Mother Mary Kay Sims. And that was the start of me living my destiny. I've had many favorite trips. I cannot even pinpoint which is the favorite. Every time I go, I say, this is my favorite. And so there are favorite things that have occurred on every mission. But I think that first trip was the one that ignited the passion in me to do what I do for Christ. And it matured me as well spiritually on a level that I had been longing to mature and had been longing to get to know God in that way. And when I stepped foot in Africa, that first mission trip in 2014, August 2014, changed my life forever. I have never been the same. And God has been doing the miraculous for me and the exceeding abundantly for me ever since that trip.
Wonderful. By the way, what part of Africa was that?
That was in Accra, Tema, Ghana.
Wow, I've never actually heard that place. What is it near that we would know?
Are you saying Accra? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. You say Ghana?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, in Ghana. Yes. Okay.
Ghana,
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So Ghana was your first. That's where you got your feet wet.
Yes, that's where I got my feet wet.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That is wonderful. So you're about to embark on a new mission. So what are some of the things you're looking forward to doing at the Journey Center, Dominican Republic?
Wow, this is a dream come true, being able to work with you and take on this baby of Evangelist Foster's. Um, I so look forward to just engaging with the girls a little bit more. I have done a mission trip to the Dominican Republic since 2015, November, and I have always loved those girls and all of the girls that I've met at the Journey Center, but actually being able to engage with them, getting to know them a little bit better, and providing ways for them to live their destiny. I know I've been called to this, and I'm just super excited to be able to actually get there and see what the needs are and help fulfill those needs. Because sometimes I know for me, I've learned down through the years in doing missions, you can go and assume what the need may be, but until you are actually there and engaging with the people and giving them an opportunity to share their stories and to, interact with them on that level, you really don't know the need. And so I know, yes, and I know for many years I would have people that would say, oh, I want to send this with you. And after a couple of years of traveling, I would finally get the courage to say, I appreciate you for wanting to do that, but what we really need is. And, that would help them to understand that you can want to send whatever you want to send to that country, but we don't actually know the need until we're there and engaging with the people. So I most look forward to getting there and spending more time with the girls at the house and spending time with those who actually work in the house to see what the needs are so we can better meet those needs.
Awesome. And for the benefit of our listening audience, those of you who may not know, April and myself are going to be taking over the work that Felicia Foster has started there at Journey to Destiny Ministries in the Dominican Republic. So we have taken some trips there already, and gotten to know the girls and spent some time there. And let me tell you, April, as you were saying, when I went there the first time, it's like I always tell people, it's like the girls climbed inside my heart and I just brought them back with me. I could not stop thinking about them. I fell in love with them. I fell in love with the ministry and the work there. The Journey Center Dominican Republic, it gives an opportunity to a new life to these young girls who have been victims of sexual trafficking. And April, I know you may have heard some of the stories of some of the girls, and they're just heart-wrenching. And it's so, one of the things that I find very, that really touches my heart, and it's amazing how the human mind can kind of separate things, and compartmentalize things, where those girls have had such tragic lives, but then to see them playing together and, laughing and joking and, doing things at the center, it just like, I just get amazed and I get so touched that the Lord is able to help them to have that new life and to be able to smile again and laugh and act like a child, because these young girls, they've had to grow up really fast. And it's been very difficult for them, but yet, they're able to laugh and play and sing and just have a wonderful time. So that's something that always touches me when I go there. So I'm also looking forward to working with you and there at the Journey Center, working with the girls. And as you know, we have a wonderful staff that works there with the girls that are there, on the ground, day to day, the house moms, the psychologists, they're there every single day and work with the girls, and we get to interact with them, but it's a wonderful thing. So I'm looking forward to also working with you and just seeing where the Lord is going to take us and take this program, just higher and higher and give more and more opportunities to other girls. So that's a wonderful thing. So April, if there was any place in the world where you could go and do a mission trip, where would it be and why?
I love this question. Nobody really ever asks you where you would want to go. I actually got an opportunity to go to the one place I've always dreamed of going for Jesus, and that is Haiti. I got an opportunity about 2 years ago, in fact, it was 2019, in the month of June, to go to Haiti. when I was a child, my state youth department president, God rest his soul, St. D. Wood Hill, he did a mission trip twice a year to Haiti. And he is known in the missions world, uh, especially with the older generation of missions workers in the Church of God in Christ, because he has done so much work in Haiti, and the mission house that's there, his church actually sponsored them building that house. And so that was something I had longed to do since I was a young girl, and God gave me the opportunity to do that. And since I have fulfilled that dream, right now I long and dream to go to East Africa. I know we just went to Kenya, but the areas like Uganda and some of those war-torn countries, I really have a longing to visit there. I love documentaries, and a couple of the documentaries that I've seen where there is a huge need have to do with the country of Uganda. And so since I have fulfilled the dream of going to Haiti, I would love to go to Uganda and more areas in East Africa to just explore and really see if God would allow me the opportunity to do some of his work there.
Oh, that's wonderful. One of the places that I would like to go is one of the places that you just named, Haiti, or Haiti as they call it. And one of the reasons, of course, is Haiti shares the island with the Dominican Republic. It's one big island that's split into two different nations, two different cultures, two different languages. It's so funny that we're so close, but we're like so far apart.
Worlds apart.
Yes, worlds apart in everything. Because the Dominican Republic was colonized by the Spanish, and Haiti was colonized by the French. So their culture, their foods, and everything is different. And then also Haiti has just had such a devastating history. I once did a presentation on the nation of Haiti, and Haiti used to be one of the most beautiful islands in the world, and it was so rich in resources. But of course, colonizing comes in and they deplete the resources. They unfortunately enslave people, and we have Haiti also was a product of some devastating dictators who really ran the country down. So it's been very tough, and it's hard to get, help into Haiti. I know that the Church of God in Christ does have like a lot of mission work there, but it's like no matter how much work you do, there's so much work to be done. But that seems to be with all the other places that we've gone to, and we know of these other countries. There's so much work to be done, and so. Getting involved and being able to help and finding out what the help and what the most urgent need is, and trying to address those needs is vitally important. And I want to take this minute to thank all our sponsors who actually, they're wonderful. Our sponsors rock. because their generous heart that we're able to do this work. And as April and I embark upon this work, we still need a lot of help from the sponsors so that we can be able to address some of these needs. I mean, it takes money, it takes resources to be able to address these needs. So we will, before we end the program, you will see at the bottom how you can donate, through Cash App, PayPal, and all the different ways we have for you to donate to Journey to Destiny Ministries in the Dominican Republic. All right. So again, a wonderful work. All right. So April, you and I went to Kenya. Yay, I'm wearing my Kenyan shirt.
I'm wearing a Kenyan necklace.
Awesome, yeah. So we just came back from Kenya. So let's talk a little bit about our trip. Let's just talk about some of our highlights and, wonderful moments, touching moments that we had in Kenya. So you start and we'll go back and forth.
Okay. So I was sharing with a friend how I had been consecrating for months leading up to the Kenya mission. And I had this idea that I was going to see toes grow back and all these different things in the village that I imagined that God could do. And so when we first got there, I was like, okay, God, what miracle are you going to work? And he confounded me from the first moment we got to Kenya to the last moment that we were there. He really confounded me and let me know that miracles can be internal. They can be something that can blow your mind, that he can do on the inside that shows forth on the outside. And so I think the biggest highlight for me is what $50 did. And while we were there, there were most of the young ladies in the village, they had never seen a paved road. Many of them had never owned a cell phone, and they were from the ages of 16 to 21. And so it was overwhelming to meet children who were an hour away from one of the major cities in this country, had never seen a paved road, and $50 changed a life. Glory to God. That impacted me so much that my friends and family could send me $10 a piece, and we could purchase a cell phone that could trigger so many things in one life. And that just did something to my whole spirit while we were there. And that was a miracle, because a generational curse, glory to God, was broken off of her life because of $50. That blew my mind. And I'm looking for God to grow an arm back or some major miracle like that. But God did a major miracle for a life with $50. That blew my mind.
Me too.
I keep talking about it.
And April, and in that same story that you're talking about, when we, those two girls who we sent to go to the university to get information, you know, so we can send them to school, that was the first time they rode in a car, and they were getting car sick. Oh my God. You know, I laugh, but I cry every time I say that story, because I cannot believe, you know, the first time they've ever been in a car. They've never seen like a paved road. So they had to keep stopping the car because they were getting car sick. I thought it was cute, you know, because I kept laughing, but at the same time, it was very touching that you can't believe that people, you know, and like you said, they're about an hour from Nairobi, and Nairobi blew me away because it is such a progressive, people are doing well. There's huge, you know, they have huge houses, you know, it's lush, it's pretty, they got the malls, they got all these wonderful things. And just an hour away, these girls have never been exposed to any of that. That was amazing. And to be able to, it was. So it was amazing when you were able to get them a cell phone. So now that's going to change their lives. And then them being able to go to college and have, oh my gosh, just a totally new life. I thought that blew me away. I mean, you know, Kenya was such an amazing trip from beginning to end. And I know it was for you also, because neither one of us have ever been to Kenya. And I've never even been to Africa, the continent, and you have been to Africa, but you've never been to Kenya. So, you know, showing up there, I had all these preconceived ideas and notions, you know, we had in our heads of how things are going to go and things were going to be. And it was totally different. Everything, nothing at all. Another thing that really impressed upon me, April, remember on the Wednesday when the girls they're going to be part of the program came to the program, and we were asking, you know, like, how long did you walk to get here? And they were saying like an hour with the baby on their back. And when we were driving around those roads, it's muddy, dusty, bumpy, grindy, unpaved roads, and those girls were so enthused about being in this program that they walked for an hour with their babies on their back. That was another touching moment for me, that they actually did that also.
Right, that was very huge for me as well. I can still see her face. I think her name was Purity. I can still see her face, and just how they made the effort to show up, because this is going to change my life, you know. And just like you said, we were riding in a vehicle and it was treacherous. The journey was treacherous, you know, that's the word that comes to mind. But they walked for that hour just to get to that church and start their life, literally start their life. That was amazing to think about, the sacrifices that they were willing to make. And the day before in the village, visiting some of their homes and seeing how they live. That was, whoa, that was very major for me, just to see that, you know, you don't even have a wall. Your home is made of mud, you know, literally made of mud. That was mind blowing. But the smiles on their face, the welcoming attitudes, the loving presence that they shared with us, and to offer me something. They were offering us.
They wanted us to eat, and I felt so bad. I'm like, you want to feed all of us? And you know, and we're looking around at their surroundings, and we're thinking like, oh my gosh, you want to feed us? You know, we're riding in a car, you know, and you walk everywhere. And I'm like, and they wanted to feed us. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so touched that, you know, I remember the gentleman, the grandfather, he was like, oh no, how can you come to my house and not eat? Oh my goodness. Yes, that was amazing. And of course, you know, thanks to Pastor Peter, who helped us out. And he says, oh no, let's all stand so he can see that we're serious, we can't stay. And then we moved on to the other houses. But that was amazing too. And visiting the different places that we went to. And remember how far it was to drive from one place to the next? And those girls walked. They walked all that way. Oh my gosh, that was amazing to me. That was unbelievable. Oh my gosh. There were so many moments that we had there. Oh, another one, April, was, remember when we went to visit the girls at the high school?
Yes.
That was so neat.
That was amazing. I think the thing that impressed me the most was that many of those children at the school, we learned, were HIV positive. And to find that out, it was like, wow, they have this disease in their body, this virus in their body, and they know it, but they still want this. Their faces were illuminated even by just our presence there. That was very impactful for me as well.
Yes, I love that. And another thing that I thought was touching was, remember after, you know, we all gave kind of like a little speech to all the girls, one of them stood up and gave us the formal thank you. I thought that was so amazing. That was so cute. And they also did it the next day when we were, when the girls came from the village, and we taught them, one of them gets up and does the formal thank you. I've been telling everybody about that. I said, yes, they stand up and they're very serious and they give us all a formal thank you for coming and speaking with them and spending time with them. I thought that was so cute. And they look so beautiful with their red uniforms. That was so pretty. It was also funny that they're all wearing like coats, hats, wool, and we were like in short sleeves. Because it was their winter, but it was like 76 degrees.
That was the most shocking for me. I think like you said, I was going with my preconceived ideas about what I was walking into. And I know that Kenya is near the equator, so I was expecting tropical weather, but the truth is, the northern part of Kenya is what's near the equator. The rest of Kenya is below the equator, and anything below the equator right now is going into winter. And I did not know that. And it was so overwhelming to get there and to see everybody putting on their coats and sweaters and hats, because it's their fall, even though they just have their rainy season. It's their fall. And you're like, oh my God, they are getting ready for, and even though their winter is nowhere as near as cold as our winter, it was cold for them. They weren't used to it being that cold. So that was very shocking for me.
That was shocking. All right, April, one of the other highlights of our trip was our safari.
Yes.
We keep laughing about that. Oh my gosh, I have had so much fun showing my grandchildren the pictures of us at the safari. So I showed I have a little granddaughter who loves animals. So I showed her, you know, like the hippos and the crocs and whatever. And then I showed her the little video of me trying to feed the giraffes. And I said to her, oh, wasn't grandma brave trying to feed the giraffes? She says, yeah, but you look like you were scared to death.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
wow.
So how did you feel when you saw like the giraffes coming at us and some of the animals that we got to see up close?
That was an experience of a lifetime because it wasn't, the little safaris that we have here in the United States. We know that all of those animals have been brought here and
Mhm.
they've been domesticated in some type of way. But to actually be in the wild in Africa, in the habitat of these animals, was just all I always say when I see something that blesses me in nature. God is
Mhm.
so beautiful. That
Yes,
was one of my God is so beautiful
yes.
moments because He is so beautiful. Everything that He does it well. And from the beginning of creation, this was His intention for these animals to be in their natural habitat. So to be surrounded by these animals in their natural habitat, to actually see
Mhm.
an animal that lions had just killed
Yes.
to eat and to sit there and watch them after they've eaten this animal, that was just like, wow, God. He really amazes me, and I've always had major respect for nature, and
Mhm.
huge respect for nature because of it being God's creation. So I don't really fool with animals, but I love them, I respect them, I just don't fool with them. I feel like they should be in their natural habitat doing what
Yes.
they do,
Yes.
and to actually get an opportunity to be a part of that and to feed the giraffes and all of
Yes.
those different things. There were people who said, "Oh, you look so brave," or whatever. I was just as afraid as you were, Lady Pruitte. I was just as afraid, but I just wanted to bask in the moment because it's just, God is so beautiful. And
Yes.
every time I get to have one of those moments, it's amazing.
And it's amazing, like the giraffe actually really impressed me because I thought it was such a majestic animal. The way it walks, and like it hold when you I want to say hold its head up high. It has no choice, of course, because of the long neck,
Long neck.
but it was just so beautiful to watch. And I did gain a better appreciation for them, and and also dispel some myths, like for instance the zebra, who I always thought was white with black stripes, and we found out that they're actually black with white
With
stripes.
white stripes.
And I thought they were much bigger, but they're so much smaller. And then the way they even lined up, kind of in a protective mode, that was so neat to watch. And even the hippos, which are really large, the rhinoceros, I did not realize how big those animals are, and I'm glad we saw those
Wow.
from a little bit afar. I don't know if I wanted to get any closer to the rhinoceros because they look really mean. But that was a once in a lifetime experience. So I am so thankful to God that He allowed me and you and Missionary Foster to go to Kenya and to do the work there, and even and meeting the girls that we did, changing the lives that are going to be changed. I'm so excited that Missionary Foster is moving on to Kenya and it's going to start the work there because one, we realize how needed it is, and we know that we can only. She can only start with 20 girls, but there's so many other girls that want to be in the program. And I'm believing God that God's going to expand that program where we can definitely do more and more and more girls there, that it will change their lives, and give them an exposure to a different way. Because I know as I grew up, one of the things that helped me to progress was being able to have exposure. I had a teacher who took interest in me, and she took me outside of my environment so that I can see that there's other things, there's a greater, bigger world. And when you see that there's a greater, bigger world, then you say, what, I want a piece of that greater, bigger world. I want to get a taste of that. And that's what made me want to do it. But if had I stayed in my environment the whole time, that's all I see. And it becomes a cycle. And same thing for the girls there. It would become a cycle. They have babies and the babies have babies, and they're all kind of stay in that cycle of poverty and never getting out. But one of the good things about the program is that's going to give them that exposure to see and that opportunity to be able to get to and aspire to and be able to accomplish some of those things that they're going to be able to see and experience. So that's a wonderful thing.
Amen. I totally agree. And I feel like just thinking about the opportunity to be exposed to so many things, the opportunity to have resources. They don't have that opportunity as we do. And just like you said, I was exposed to so many different things, even though I grew up in what we call the hood. I grew up, you know, in a poor home. Even though my parents were married and in the church, we were still poor. We didn't know we were poor then, but we were. And to have those experiences, the exposure, the resources, they don't have those things. And to be able to see Evangelist Foster take those things there and provide an opportunity for growth for these girls, it is amazing. And I so look forward to seeing them in the future. They look much better than they do now.
Yes, they do. I can't wait to hear about them and some of the things that they're going to accomplish in this life. All right, April, we're towards the end of our conversation here, but I want to leave you with, ask you one more question. What is some advice you would give to somebody who's considering going into the mission field?
So one of the things that I like to encourage people who are considering the mission field is to really consider their intention and their motive. As believers, we should always have purified motives anyway, but many times we have to try our motives against the word of God and recognize why we're doing what we're doing. If you cannot answer the why, and if you cannot really dig deep into what your purpose is in doing a specific thing, there is no point in you doing that, you know? And so a lot of people glamorize missions, and because they glamorize missions, they want to do it. I want to go on a mission trip because of their idea of what a mission trip is. But Evangelist Foster has taught me a lot, and God allowing me to start with Bishop and Mother Sims has taught me so much in understanding that this is not, you know, the glamorous thing that we make it in the United States many times. In our country, we truly glamorize missions, and it's not this glamorous thing. It is truly a hard work. And if your motives are impure in any way, whether you recognize that or not, you're not going to have a successful mission. And you're really not going to make the impact that you can make if you have the right motives. So I encourage you, if you're really considering that, ask God to check your motives. Why do I want to do this? Is it for the glamour of, is it for the attention of, or am I doing this because it is a God work? Because at some point, it's going to be forgotten. You're going to be forgotten. There are people who every now and then will say, hey, you're the one that does missions, right? But throughout the year, you're forgotten. You're not, you know, they're not worried about, you still have the heart of the people. Your heart is still there with the people. You're still trying to figure out how you can continue the work, even though you're not physically living there in that, you know, third world country. And so they've forgotten about it. They sent their little $100, their little $200, saw your little presentation, and they're finished with it. They're not up praying about it and fasting throughout the year about it. And so if you are not willing to give up yourself in some ways, this is not the life for you. You know, you're not called to missions, and that's okay. It's okay to recognize that and to honor that. As my pastor says all the time, I haven't been called to it, but I certainly can continue to support the work that you do. And so if you're not the one that's called to it, support the work that someone else is doing, but ensure that you have checked your motives before you, I want to do a mission trip.
Yeah, because it's definitely not glamorous. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to give an example. When we were in Kenya, I must say that April and Felicia are consummate missionaries. I am just a novice. Only been on a few trips. So anyway, I noticed, one of the things I noticed, and I keep telling everyone this, April, is that I saw you and Felicia always carried this humongous backpack. And I'm like, why are they carrying this humongous backpack everywhere they go? You through the airport, every time we went to the village, anywhere we went, they have this humongous backpack. Little did I know. So anyway, I'm carrying, you know, my little crossover purse, thinking like, okay. So we get to the village and we have to use the restroom. And then we find out that there's no running water at the village. So they have latrines. Yeah. So we had to use the bathroom. So thank God for, like I said, April and Felicia, the consummate missionaries. They carried the necessities in their backpacks. I had no idea. I had no idea. So anyway, we got to experience using a latrine. So that's the glamorous life of the missionary, y'all. And Felicia, I was always wondering, why does she always have toilet paper? And now we know why missionaries have to carry toilet paper. You just never know what situation you're going to be, and carrying the wipes and all the different things that they had. So every time I needed something, I was like, oh my gosh. And they would say, here you go.
Don't worry about it.
I'm bringing my backpack next time. I'm bringing my backpack because, again, it's not a glamorous life. And even though we had fun, we enjoyed it, but again, it's in our heart. It's something that, I feel the Lord has called me to do. You feel the Lord has called you to do. Felicia feels that this is something that the Lord has called us to do. So, we get, sometimes things don't go as you expect or plan. So we have to pivot quickly and be flexible and move and, do what we have to do to make it happen. And that's something that you have to have when you go into the mission field. You can't, if you're not a flexible person, if you're a person that has to be, a strict routine, or things have to be done a certain way, mission field is definitely not for you. You definitely have to be flexible. Another thing that I always say, April, is when you're going into a foreign country, you need to study the culture. Culture is very important because you don't want to offend. And I think knowing and understanding the culture is actually even more important than the language, because you can kind of get by with the language barrier, but the culture barrier can get you into a lot of trouble. And that's something that is very important when you go to these different places. Some things that we Americans find as, oh, that's no big deal. It can be a very big deal for them, and it can be very offensive. So we have to be very careful. And one of the things that we did is, we had Pastor Peter and Teacher Ann who were there as our guide. So as some things that we wanted to do, instead of just going on ahead and doing them, we would ask them first, is it proper to do this? Is it okay to do this? And they may say yes, or they may say no, let me talk to the person first, or things like that. I think that's very important. And have you found that, understanding the culture as you go to into the mission field, how important have you found it to be, April?
It is major. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most important things in being able to minister to those people. You do prepare before you leave on a mission, and consecrating yourself, asking God to prepare the hearts of the people, because He alone can do that. But when you get there, when you know their culture and you honor their culture, they're more receptive to you as the missionary. And so it is truly major. And they receive what God has brought you to bring. They're more receptive to it. And so something as simple, when you go to Africa, it's so different. Something as simple as waving goodbye in America. Well, this has come here to Africans. Mm-hmm. And every African country I've gone to, when you do this, they start walking towards you. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, I'm saying goodbye. No, you're not. You're telling them to come here. So it's a little bit different for them. And so just learning that this time, I didn't do this to wave goodbye. I would say, whatever it was, goodbye in their language if I learn. And just as something that I've learned down through the years is learning those key words, like hello. The greetings are always good to learn in their native language. It's always good to learn the greetings and just simple words to, let them know that you're honoring who they are. You're not trying to take away from who they are, and you're not trying to make them who you are.
Yes.
So it's major in being able to go and do what God has called you to do, in learning their culture and respecting their culture.
Yes, respecting. And we learned a few words while we were in Africa. Let's see, the ones that I remember Abarigani, which is hello. Let's see, what else do you remember?
Asante Sana.
Asante Sana, which means thank you very much. And then Karibu, which they said a lot, which is welcome, and Karibu Sana, which is you're very welcome. And then I would hear them say sawa sawa all the time, like okay.
Love it. And my favorite, everywhere I go, I try to learn God is faithful.
Yeah.
When I was in the Dominican once, The girls, I kept saying, God is faithful. And they taught me, Dios es fiel. And
Yes,
so
very
I
good.
love learning God is faithful in every language. So I learned it
Yes,
in
you
their
did.
language, which is Mungu ni mwaminifu. God
Yes.
is faithful. And so it was so cool to be able to learn God is faithful in the Kenyan language.
That was wonderful. All right. Well, April, thank you so much for joining me on my program, Conversations with Lady Pruitte. It was a wonderful having you here. And also, I am looking so forward to working with April. We really got to know each other while we were in Kenya, which I thank God for, because April is such a wonderful person and she comes from the heart in everything she does, which I love about her. And I know we're going to have a great time and we're going to work very well together in the Journey Center, Dominican Republic. So again, if you would like to donate, we will have, you will see it on the screen, all the opportunities to donate. It is such a wonderful cause. We are changing lives. These are girls who have been victims of sexual trafficking, and we are rescuing them and giving them opportunities, educating them, and giving them a fresh start to a new life. So please, won't you join us in the cause? Even if you can't come over on a mission trip, you can donate and help us. You can send money. Like I said, we have all different forms of payment, as you will see on the screen. And please come over and help us take this journey together. April, thanks again. I love you, and I will talk to you later.